Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome back to the pod.
Are you excited? I'm so excited.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Also because it's our first guest in
We
the
have a
studio.
guest. Yay.
I'm so excited.
Deepa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Just a bit about you, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm Deepa.
Yes.
I am just moved to New York City about 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about myself, but yeah, we'll get into it as we start. Yeah, nothing crazy, but
No, we're so excited. This is our first guest that we've had in the studio, so it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be the studio is so nice.
Yeah. It's really fun. It's so fun to
is.
record in person compared to virtually.
Yeah.
Like, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, because when we used to record in virtual, it was nice, but we just couldn't feed off of each other as easily. Yeah. The one other time I've been on a virtual podcast, I was like, this was a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah.
It was just really it was still nice, but it was kind of hard to connect. Given you're staring at yourself in front, you can see your own face. You know when you're on a Zoom meeting and you get fatigued from fixing your hair because you can see yourself. Here I can't see myself. We're just chatting, so it's a lot nicer.
And I feel Zoom, there's a lot of talking over each other because of the lag and the so it just takes a second. I feel it's just so much more fun in person.
Oh yeah. So we're so excited about this week's episode because we're gonna be just talking to Deepa, getting to know her a bit and hearing a little bit about her story. If you guys haven't listened to our last few episodes, we also had a few episodes in the studio, so definitely go check that out. We have it on YouTube as well, the full episode, so definitely go listen.
Yeah. I keep joking that it's you're FaceTiming us.
Yeah.
Come on FaceTime.
Yeah.
I love that.
But yeah, so we kind of wanted to get into how it's been moving to the city and what kind of brought you to New York in the first place. Yeah. So I feel people move for jobs and things like that, but that was not the case for me at all. So I lived in DC for 2.5 years prior to moving to New York, and I've only been here for 5 months, so it hasn't been very long. But essentially in DC, when I started living there, I posted on a Facebook page just being hey, I'm looking for a roommate, on a DC housing page. And this girl responded, and she was like, oh, I have this apartment, whatever. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I just need a place to live, because at that point I had to move for work. So I wasn't trying to be friends with this girl or anything. I was just yeah, I need to move. So yeah, sure. You're you have an empty room in your apartment? Sure. Yeah. She ended up being my best friend.
Oh my God.
And sister.
Wow.
Just she is my absolute best friend. We just really connected, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
So we just I knew a lot of people in DC. I went to UVA, so the same way that people from Rutgers or Penn moved to New York City, people that go to UVA moved to DC. Yeah. So I knew a lot of people there, but I kind of just hung out with her. We just had so much fun together. We didn't meet anyone else. Nice. So when when I knew that she had to move on, wasn't going to be in DC anymore, I was I don't want to do DC without her. So that was one thing. And then the other thing is I started creating content when I moved to DC.
Okay.
So I've been doing it for a year and a half now.
Okay.
And when I started creating content, I feel I really bonded with other South Asian content creators. I don't know, they were just, I just felt I connected so much to them, and I grew up in a really, really small white town in Virginia. Okay. So I'm not used to having brown friends at all, in any way. Okay. So all of a sudden, I felt I was, I didn't meet them in person, but even
it was
just
a community,
yeah, just commenting on each other's stuff and meeting mutuals. I was wait, this is so cool, and I just felt really seen by just random people's content too. I was there's so many experiences. I remember I saw one of my friends now, Ria Shetty. She posted this TikTok where she was every single time I think about my immigrant mom, I just want to cry.
No, I'm gonna. I always cry when I think about that.
Yeah, just I don't know. Yesterday I went to Hot Pot. Yeah. And it was so much fun, and I was I'm 25 and exploring New York City, and I wish my mom could have done that.
That's so crazy because they
also came around the same age we're at right now. At least my mom.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. She had a kid at my age.
Yes.
So,
Right,
like,
same, yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
And we're, like, frolicking around the city, like,
I know.
trying to discover ourselves. And it's, like, such a
Yeah.
different experience.
Yeah. That kind of went on a tangent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was saying.
That
but-
really just, like, got me thinking. I've never actually, like...
Yeah, like I don't know.
that.
It's just like I had never been to Hot Pot before, and
Yeah.
last night I went and I was like, "Fuck me!" That my mom didn't get to like have this like childlike
But
wonder experience.
Totally, but
that
you know
I
what
had.
I think? I feel like, tell me if your parents have the same mentality. I feel like my dad's mentality is very much like the next generation should be more successful. Like he feels like he's more successful or got to do more than his dad.
Yeah.
Because his dad, my grandparents lived in current day Pakistan during the partition, so they like had to flee and had nothing. So my grandfather kind of started from nothing, and then my dad was able to move to America, and now he wants me to have like, you know, more success and more than he did. But I think what I'm realizing is success looks different. Like I am more successful in the way that I have the liberty to do all these things that he couldn't. I can be selfish in a way that they couldn't, which is really amazing. No,
Yeah.
okay, but you were saying that you had the community.
No, I just really, really appreciated South Asian community. And then my roommate, she's also brown, and that was new to me, like having such a close, like, brown friend. And like we would watch Bollywood movies, and like we FaceTimed our moms to learn how to make dal when it was cold. Like it was just so nice. And I was like, wait, I want more of this. Like I love doing brown things. Like, and I spent so much of like my youth and childhood like hiding this part of my identity because I grew up in this small white town. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna move to New York. Like, so I did. So I made that decision in like January because I knew that she most likely wasn't gonna be in.
Stay there,
So she kind of prompted it, but also like every single time I came and visited here, I always just really liked it. And then the brown community thing was like obviously really important to me, and I wanted to explore that more. So now I've been here for 5 months, and I fucking love it.
Cool.
Was it like hard adjusting when you first came, or?
Honestly, not that much.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like people always say it's really hard. Like moving to New York can be really difficult, and it's hard to adjust. But I feel so like pick me. Like I haven't had any issues, but like I don't know. I haven't had very many
But
issues.
also, if you didn't have any, then
Does it feel different than DC? Does it feel bigger, or does it feel kind of similar in like the way the city feels?
I think in the way the city feels, it's really similar.
It
I
is?
think,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think that's probably like
Okay.
a reason why it was easy to adjust. It was hard to adjust to DC for me because all of a sudden I was, carrying only the groceries I could hold in my hand.
Yeah. So you kind of got used to city living.
You got used to that.
Yeah. But the parts where it's a lot better are like, I feel like I've been able to meet so many people here.
Yeah.
And it's not where like people from UVA like come to as much.
Yeah.
So it's kind of forced me to branch out into
Find your own bubble.
that's like separate from like my sorority in college.
I was gonna ask you, what's your favorite Bollywood movie? Do you have one? Or like a recent one that you
I think Kuch Kuch Hota Hai is probably my favorite.
Classic.
Nice.
Classic.
What are your guys' favorites?
I have a lot. I'm a big Bollywood fan.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm not as much.
Yeah.
because
But I also speak Hindi. Like that's what we speak in my house, and
Okay.
I'm very fluent. So
I'm at home that we speak Telugu, so like,
yeah.
I just didn't grow up watching a lot of Hindi
and I mean
movies.
Telugu, like the
Did
Telugu
you grow up watching a lot of Telugu movies?
We did.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say.
I don't remember like what we watched at home sometimes. But
Yeah.
I have a lot of favorites. I'm trying to think. Right now, I love Gully Boy. Have you watched that?
No, but you know what I want to watch?
What?
That like Top Gun remake with Hrithik Roshan.
Oh my
It's
God,
coming out.
Fighter?
Yeah.
Wait, it hasn't come out yet, right?
No,
When is it coming out?
I don't know, but the trailer just came out.
I'm so
Listen, anything with the Russian sign me up. I don't even need to know. I don't need to know what it's about. I don't care. I'm watching it to see him.
Wait,
I don't care.
also, like, do you think... I think his extra thumb situation is the most hot thing ever.
It's very attractive. I think it's because he owns it. It's like, it's the confidence. Do you know what we're talking about?
Yes.
He has like the extra
thumb.
Dude, I always watch out for it in like every movie. I'm like, oh, there's his thumb. Like,
That's
as though I
so-
know something, like, especially though everyone
It's so
talks about
funny
that.
because I was talking to one of my other friends recently, and she was like, when I was growing up, I like wish I had an
extra
extra
thumb?
because of him.
Oh my
and I was
God.
like dying. Like it was just he made it cool. Like you're like,
Yeah.
okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
That's funny. But it's funny because me and Manasa grew up in the same town, and our town was very different. It's super brown.
Yeah, I figured because you guys said you grew up in New Jersey.
Yeah.
There are parts of Jersey that are not, but
That are
like
not.
each like little town in Jersey is like so different. Like some towns are like super white, some towns are like very Italian, some towns are like very Indian.
Or very Asian. Like Central Jersey, I think has a very large population of like South Asian, East Asian, and our town was very, very. First of all, a very big high school. We went to like 800-person classes.
Yeah.
So every grade was 800 people.
Big classes? Oh, like per grade?
Like the graduating class. So.
Yeah, I'm over here thinking.
No, sorry.
It's college class. Like,
no.
It's AP history, and
No,
you're
and you're like in
into
an auditorium. No, so it was like 800 people per grade.
Okay, that's pretty big.
It was pretty big, and it was like 40% brown.
The whole school.
The whole school.
Guys, I cannot even fathom
No,
that.
it was crazy.
I think I was like one of like, I'm Nepali, but like I'm pretty sure there's like, I was one of like 3 South Asian people in my school.
That is
so
insane.
crazy.
That's so funny to us because it's a super different experience. But so interesting to hear yours.
Like for me, moving to New York because we like lived in such a like Asian like community. Coming here felt like a little bit of a culture shock because I don't see it as much as I probably did then.
Yeah,
that's why.
And my
friends,
was
a switch,
which I kind of like because my friends I feel like are a little bit more diverse now. So I have like friends of like all types.
Yeah,
so I love it. But like it was a big shift for me from there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like
you know what I keep saying lately? I think I told you this the other day. I feel like I keep dating. Like, okay, I'm trying to date. I'm in my dating era. Okay, I'm super single.
I love that for you.
I'm super single, so I'm like trying to date. But I keep feeling like I'm meeting the guy that I grew up with over and over. I'm like, I could have grown up with you. Like, it just feels like you have the same background as me, the same everything, and I just feel
like they're from New Jersey.
Yeah, or like Jersey, New York, with East Coast, like kind of in finance, like similar background, like, and I'm just like, okay, this feels like we could have grown up in the same town.
And
I need to like
need some spice.
Differentiate a little bit because I feel like that's like kind of the not downside, but one thing growing up that I've realized, and I think you have too, is that we didn't have a lot of like diversity in the people that we met. It was diverse, it wasn't white, but it was like very similar. Very similar makeup. We all like were first generation, very similar. Our parents were all in similar, so it just kind of we all had similar backgrounds. So I feel like I'm kind of trying to just meet new people too. Because it's very
Are you focusing specifically on meeting brown guys? Or are you open to it all?
I'm very open.
Oh, okay. That's wild.
I'm open. I'm open. You know what I realized?
Wait, open to date or open to like see where it goes in terms of getting married to them? Because those are different things.
No, I think, you know what it is? I think I need to date right now. Because I don't think I've ever, oh my god, I'm spilling over again. I don't think I haven't ever like really dated. Just dated to like date. I just want to casually date. Like I feel like if I met the man of my dreams tomorrow, I would say I don't know if I want to be with you yet. Because I feel like I haven't.
Yeah. I was in your boat like exactly a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I relate,
I'm like, I don't know yet. So I just want to date to kind of figure out what I like.
Yeah.
And like even just for like 6 months. I need like half a year of like, what is it? And then I can be like, now I can get like look for something serious.
Okay.
That is the way I'm thinking about it.
Okay, so what I'm picking up from what you're saying is like you're down to date anyone right now.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the vibes I'm getting for you, like when you're actually looking, she might end up. She's not gonna be dating some white guy.
I think I'm really cultured. Like for me, like I like speaking my language. I like listening to I primarily listen to Bollywood music. Like that.
Yeah.
So I need someone who I don't need someone who is the same, but I need someone who appreciates it. Like you have to be cultured. It could be your different culture, and we could come together and appreciate both.
Yeah.
But I need someone who appreciates culture because there can be brown men who also reject their culture. So it's not
true. That's so
true.
And
also I feel like
there is that type of brown man too that's like rejecting their culture. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm not trying to generalize.
It's good that you're open to everything.
Yes.
You never know.
Thank you. Also, I feel like brown men have big egos. Like, brown men are mama's boys, and I keep seeing it. My brother is too. Like, sorry, I love you, but
not all.
Not a lot, okay? Yeah. Not all. So I'm just like, maybe I just...
And as I've seen your TikToks with your mans, you're like, not all, I love it.
Yeah.
I also had a very similar like dating experience when I first moved to New York. I like didn't date at all.
Yeah. Wait, also, how long have you lived here?
For a while. It's gonna be
almost two and a half. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So like when I was in college, I like really didn't talk to boys. I was honestly scared of them. If I was interested, I would have walked towards. I walked in the other direction.
Okay.
But then after moving here, I was like, I really just want to get out there and date. And honestly, dating apps like made it really easy to like make that first introduction. I know people like shit on it and it is sucky, but like it's really easy to just like be able to meet someone.
Right.
It's more accessible.
It's
So scary going up to someone sometimes.
Yeah, because that's all the time. Are you kidding? Like I'm not someone who did that. Like,
I'm not either. Yeah.
Wait, so are you in a relationship?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I met him
only-
5 months ago when I moved
Oh
here.
my god. Wait, was it on 30? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Okay, so I need to keep.
You got 2 success
No,
stories.
seriously.
Was it Hinge for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was yours Hinge too?
Yeah.
Stop. Okay, I need to get back on Hinge.
That's the only app I've had, but yeah.
Okay, I need to get back on Hinge. This is crazy.
Yeah.
But Ma's story of meeting her boyfriend is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
we literally tell everyone because it's such a crazy story.
Wait, okay, I want to hear
I've
it.
actually never talked about it on the podcast, so this is a perfect
Wait,
opportunity.
okay.
I want to hear it because you guys look so cutie in your little TikToks.
So like when I first moved here, I had like no intention of getting into a relationship. I like honestly was just like wanted to meet new people, kind of like what Ishika wants to do now.
Yeah.
So meeting all different types of people, like all
Going on dates,
ethnicities,
yeah.
going on dates, like doing fun things.
Yeah.
And the week I had met my boyfriend, I went on like 3 dates.
Okay.
I was like just going out, meeting
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
people.
Like 3 different dates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First day we had like this 8 a.m. coffee date. Like he had to like go on this flight like later in the day, so that was the only time I could meet him.
Yeah.
Didn't end up going
8
well.
a.m.
It was very early.
Dude, and it was kind of
We,
random.
like, went on a
to
walk
park
and got
and- yeah.
Dude, clearly you were like new on the dating scene that you agreed to that. I would have been like, no, thank you,
I'm
sir.
a big morning person, and
Okay.
I love like early morning stuff.
What time do you go to bed?
Like 10:30, 11.
Oh, I aspire for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, she
Keep going, I
yeah,
wanna hear
she's-
this.
Yeah.
And then the next date I went on was the night before I met my boyfriend.
Okay.
And this dude also
God.
just looked so different than he did in pictures. He was
Oh,
also
God.
the same height as me, which I'm personally not into.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'4".
Okay.
He was maybe 5'5".
So you were like, this is not what I thought
this
it was
is
gonna be.
not what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just like kept going on and on about like, let me take you.
He came on super strong, I
home to my
remember, yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
want you to meet my mom.
What?
After the first.
Was this boy brown?
Yes.
Okay,
during
yeah.
the first date. and I was
that's
like
so insane.
so turned off by that. That was it.
Yeah.
On Friday, I went into work that day. I was so over dating at that point. It was
I know, that's so many dates at once. And
Yeah.
like, I have also a very similar story to this, so I can relate.
Yeah, it was November. It was towards the end of the year. I was like, I'm going home for Thanksgiving in like 3 days.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go on this date. I got home from work. I showed up at the date like 30 minutes late.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it ended up going really well. I had a get out
clearly.
after it too. Like I was supposed to go to a friend's birthday party.
Yeah.
And the date went so well that I invited him to my friend's birthday
So I
party.
met him, like all
That
of our
night?
friends met him on their first date.
Yeah.
Fully,
Fully,
he came.
I felt so bad just like leaving him because I like really enjoyed the date. And he was like, honestly, if you had just left, I don't think we'd see each other again because like I only gave him an hour.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
like,
damn,
so-
you really were like,
I'm
over
over
dating.
it.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, rest is history.
and it's so funny because
Wait, so how long has it been now?
It's gonna be
Over
a
a year.
year like next week.
they met last November, like 2022. So they
Yeah.
met over a year ago.
Yeah.
Wait, but so you were living in New York for a while, but you didn't date like as soon as you got here?
I moved 2021, so I was
Okay.
like dating up until then, November
Okay.
2022.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But what was I gonna say? Oh my god, okay. So that night when people came up to me and they were like, is that her boyfriend? I'm like, no, they just met. Like the way they were
I was like, I've only known him for
like
2
the
hours.
vibe, like the vibe was there. Everyone was like, "Are they together?" I'm like, "No, they literally just met a couple
Oh my
years ago."
goodness.
It was so funny. It was really funny. But yeah,
I love that. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
yeah, crazy. So there's hope for me. Okay,
Dude,
That's
there's
all
so
I'm
much
hearing.
hope.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Wish me luck. Okay, so you're like in New York so far.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely like in New York.
Okay,
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah.
I guess how has it been? Well, what got you into content creating, and how has it been juggling like a full-time job with content
Yeah.
creating? Do you like having it on the side? Is this something you wish that in the future you want to go into like fully?
Yeah, so in terms of what got me into content creating, I don't know if you guys watch like beauty gurus on YouTube.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Mac Barbie.
RCL Beauty.
Juicy Star 07.
Oh my
God.
Yeah.
Like Dolce Candy. Like
Yeah.
Bethany
oh my
Moda.
goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, Bethany Moda slay. She was great.
Yeah.
So, like I loved watching that and I was like, I want to make videos like that. But I felt like the barrier to entry, like looking back now, the barrier to entry was kind of high because you needed like a MacBook or like some kind of camera because then people started creating like really
High quality.
high quality camera content. Like Bethany Moda's content was kind of like high quality for that time period,
Yeah.
and it wasn't something that my mom wasn't gonna let my like 12-year-old ass buy a camera. But I would film like hauls of stuff that I bought at J. Crew like in the 9th grade.
Like when you were wait
on my mom's iPad. I did not post them,
so cute.
but
okay.
I would just make them, and sometimes I would like talk to myself in front of the mirror pretending
that you were making
like,
a video.
Yeah,
that's so funny. Okay.
So I always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But obviously never acted on anything. And then once TikTok became like more popular and people were making videos, for the longest time I never even had TikTok or anything like that. But then when I moved to DC, like a little bit after I moved there, and like I think it's like a year and a half ago, so like 2022, I saw that there were some like DC creators that were making like restaurant reviews and like random videos of like cool restaurants they were eating at.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I want to make one. Like I'm exploring DC and eating at all these places. Like I want to make one. So I did, and then like someone would comment like, oh, like show it, like can you do a daily vlog or something? And I was like, okay, I guess. So then I did one of those.
Wow, okay.
And I mean, it was so cringy. Like guys, I don't know why I thought my voice needed to be so high pitched. I didn't even realize at the time, you know? Like I was like, hey guys, like come along with me as a 24-year-old. Like it was awful. Like,
but it's, I think coming in, like being in front of the camera for the first time, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like it takes trying to get
It's not
comfortable.
a natural
even
thing.
the voiceovers too, like awful.
Yeah.
Like that shit is completely privated. Like, some of it still exists probably. But yeah, from there I just started realizing, like people still watched it. I don't know why with that annoying ass high pitched voice, but yeah, and then I don't know, it just kind of grew from there, and I really enjoyed making it. I think that was the other thing.
Yeah.
And then I remember like around a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, I like had gotten my first brand deal.
Okay.
And at that point they were like, what's your rate? And I was like, I don't know. Like,
So the first time
$200 seems good for a video. Like, so, and they agreed immediately, and I was like, wow, I'm making a video for $200. I was so excited. And then from there, now it's like grown into so much more. And I've gotten more comfortable in front of the camera and don't talk in a high-pitched voice. But yeah.
I feel like all creators, like when they first start, like the first few videos are just like not good. Because it takes time to like find what you're good at, find what you like, and also just like get comfortable. Because like even for me, like I can't.
Yeah,
I can't even watch
it. She's been doing it for a long time.
I have a crazy winded story with content.
Wait, can you say it? Have you ever told it? Is it just us learning about Pakistan? Okay, wait, tell us the story.
I'll do a quick one.
A quick story.
So like way back when the Instagram app was like the brown
like right in the beginning
like
of
2014.
Oh, the first version
era.
Yeah.
So I was in that era. I was like super into cooking and like healthy food back then. And I would like post all my recipes like every single day. I was like, so.
How old were you?
I was like 14.
Oh my god,
15.
I love this.
No, but actually, like,
and I hid it from everyone. No one knew
Oh, it
about
wasn't your personal Instagram?
No, I had a separate Instagram.
And it was like aesthetic. She was actually one of, you know, she would
use the camera like that and like take pictures.
She knew what she was doing, like the white background, and she would actually make like really good looking food.
Yeah.
And she had a food account.
It looked like a recipe book.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I like never thought it would ever end up being something back then.
Yeah. Wait, does it exist now?
Not anymore.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But I'll get to it.
Okay.
So I had that for a while, and it got to a point where like it grew so much, where I was like meeting all these other food bloggers. I had a meetup back then.
Wait, like 14-year-old you had a meetup?
Yeah.
I love this.
There was like 5-6 people there, but it was still something. And I was like in that community for a while, and then when college happened, I kind of just didn't do it as much. Like I just feel like it was just like a period where like you're kind of like learning a lot about yourself.
Yeah, when you're 18, you like go off to college.
You're also so busy that like,
and
especially being South Asian, like school is so important.
Exactly.
So I was like, school. This is not something that I can make real.
Yeah.
So I kind of just stopped it back then.
Yeah.
But I've changed a lot since then. So now I kind of make more like lifestyle content and have been trying to.
Okay. Wait, so is it that account that has now been renamed?
Yeah, like if you scroll way back when, there's like a bunch of pictures of food.
Wait, I will be doing that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No,
the
it
account
was
was like a lot bigger than 2. Like I had to pause for like 4 years.
Yeah.
But it was super great. Like I I feel like I like love content creation and like I just love being creative.
So when did you get into like the video making, TikToking, all that?
I would say
during COVID.
COVID, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like,
Like
I
peak
finally
COVID, like a
feel-
March 2020 situation?
No,
Oh, okay.
I was like one of those, and like, I'm not gonna download TikTok.
Same.
Like, I don't need that app. And then,
I didn't download it until like 2022.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I was like, oh my goodness, like everyone's addicted.
Oh my god.
Now I'm so addicted.
I downloaded it. I was like, you know when they have you ever been on TikTok and they'll show like this nostalgic like POV, it's March 2020 and you're on TikTok and I'm like, this is so familiar to me. Like I was
whenever
so
I
much
see those,
on TikTok.
I cannot relate. I was like, I wasn't there.
I was so obsessed with it. I would like, this is so embarrassing. I was fully like 21, 22, right? It was like our senior year of college. I was like 21 years old. And or like 20. And I would like make a bunch of drafts of like all those like Charli D'Amelio like dances.
Savage.
And I am so, luckily, I don't know what in my, I didn't post a majority of them. There were a couple that I did
And you know,
post.
what if you could have been like?
No,
You
I
could have
could
been
have
Charli
blown up,
D'Amelio.
like,
Who knows? Okay, I could have. Maybe it was a missed opportunity.
And it was so easy to grow back then.
Yeah.
I saw
So I hear.
I saw on TikTok of someone being like me going to my 9-to-5 job because I was too shy to post TikToks in 2020. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah, or
same.
like I didn't post a YouTube vlog
Yeah.
in like
Yeah,
when I was 13. Or
exactly.
something.
No, but I was gonna say like I've seen her get comfortable because she's been like vlogging on YouTube for a long time.
Oh, you vlog on YouTube too?
Yeah.
Or like once in a while.
I did, yeah.
And I've seen, because I've been in some of her vlogs, right? Like when we're doing something, she'll vlog. And I've seen her, I tell her all the time, gets comfortable over time.
Yeah.
Like so much more comfortable pulling it out and just like talking
Yeah.
to the camera. So it's cool to see as well.
Yeah.
Like the change.
I love YouTube. It's like my favorite platform, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the long
I used to
form.
be
Yeah.
so into YouTube, and then TikTok kind of just took over my
Yeah.
brain, I guess.
And I think it's also like the shift. It's interesting to see like the trends and the shifts. Like now we're so much more used to like quick content. I feel like long form is coming back slowly though, because you like putting something on
people
the
are
web.
starting to get tired
Yeah.
a little and like moving back to long
Back to
form.
long form, but it's so crazy how quick the kind of things change.
Yeah.
And you have to be ready to kind of shift with
Yeah.
shift with whatever's going on and like what's happening.
You make a lot of like day in the lives and stuff like that. What would you say is like your favorite content to watch or consume?
Definitely not what I make. I honestly want to start slightly leaning away from that just because it's kind of, I feel like it's a little too like put together.
Okay.
Like for example, one thing that I think I've tried to do a better job of this ever since I've gotten this piece of feedback, but like I've become really good friends with other creators in New York since I moved here, and when I hung out with them for the first time, they were like, dude, you're so feral and crazy, and your vlogs give none of that. Like, they were like, this is, I forget, my friend Radhika was like, I forget what the word she used was, but like, I can't remember. It's something about like how she was so surprised, like she was just totally caught off guard.
Yeah.
And I think I just naturally make, like when you're, you know, doing a voiceover and you're creating like a script and then you're putting pieces of your vlog together, it just ends up being like a little bit like very polished and put together, which is cool. That's fine, but that's not how I am normally. Like my room is a disaster. I didn't even know this podcast was today. Like I was gonna show up tomorrow. Like you guys would have.
We would have also been here.
We're also gonna be here, but that's funny.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I'm a little. Life's a little shambly oftentimes for me, but I can see, like, I know my life and my friends know what I'm like, but it's funny because when someone that hasn't met you in person sees your content, it can be like a whole different version of you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're very much in the era of, I don't know how to say it, but like realistic or like more raw content creation.
Yeah.
Like that is why I think Alex Earl is famous.
And like Monet.
That is
God.
Monet and Alex is like what we always say. It's like just showing your life how it is. I think everyone is like getting to that point now where we're kind of over the
aesthetic,
polish,
yeah,
right? And we're trying to be more relatable and like
So in terms of what kind of content I do like to consume, I love like people who are just like picking up their camera and saying shit, and I think that's what I watch. I don't watch day in the life vlogs very often.
Okay. Yeah, we're big Monet fans. She
I'm
also went to our
huge.
college. She went to Rutgers.
Oh, right.
We didn't know.
We didn't know her. She's but like
Wait,
I just
she's
feel like
exactly your
connected
guys' age, right?
She's a year younger than us.
Oh, okay.
But I just feel so connected to her just because I'm like,
Jersey.
Yeah, like now it's all being Jersey girls. Like, okay.
You're like, oh, like she's my friend.
She's my friend. Like we're alumni. Okay, it's fine. But yeah, you can see the shift like totally. And I think genuinely like when I watched like dissections into Alex Earl, or especially when she was getting famous, getting popular, a lot of people were saying that because it feels like you're just FaceTiming her or just like talking to her. It's not so scripted, or maybe it is, but it comes across really relatable.
Yeah, at this point, I think it might actually be quite scripted, but she doesn't give off that vibe. So she's doing a great job.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I know you also mentioned like coming to the city and kind of like tapping into your culture a bit.
Yeah.
How's that been, and like discovering like more of yourself and like being able to like show that side of you?
Yeah. So I feel like with kind of starting like content creation, like even in DC, I got a lot of that, and just having like a brown roommate and us getting so close, I got to a lot of that. But now in New York City, what's exciting is like I just get to meet so many other like South Asian people just randomly, whether they're creators or they're not creators, and I just like meet a friend of a friend, and then I just find that I connect with them so much. And like right now, earlier in the pod when we were talking about like thinking about our moms and like wanting to cry or like you know, that is such a like immigrant kid experience.
Shared experience,
and not something that I think like, you know, I love my friends from home and I love my friends from college, but not something that they would necessarily relate to, and that level of connection is just so nice. So I don't know if it's culture necessarily, but it's like shared understanding that I've really enjoyed, I guess. And then also like culture as well, in the sense that like in October, like there's so many of the volley parties, and that's so new to me. Like what the fuck? Like there's like a whole like club bar rented out, and everyone's in lehengas like dancing to the Bollywood like I was just like, this is why I fucking moved here. This is so cool.
Okay. That's so nice.
That is nice. And like being able to like meet someone and not have to explain yourself sometimes. They just like already get it.
Exactly. I think that's the biggest thing. Like you don't explain yourself at all.
Yeah.
And I could talk about this for so long. I feel like the first generation South Asian experience in like in America or somewhere like in the West is so specific, especially because a lot of our parents were immigrants. I don't know if your parents grew up here.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, so our parents were immigrants as well, and I feel like it is such a specific experience of like not feeling Asian enough or South Asian enough, but kind of figuring out like your parents can't fully relate to you, but like who can, and there's no one that I know that's gone through something similar who's older than me. So I really feel like we are kind of figuring it out in a way. Obviously there are people before us, but maybe they're not in our lives as much, and the communities that we grew up with. So I think South Asian diaspora, like figuring out our relationship with our culture, whether it's food and clothing and like music, it's such an important journey. Such a specific journey.
Like for example, my Spotify, my number one artist was Pritham.
Oh, I love Pritham.
This is the second year in a row this has happened. The first year I literally was like, who is this? Like when I got my Spotify Wrapped, I was like, I didn't even know who it was.
So you're like listening to the song like
because they're just Bollywood songs. Like I think of the actor and the actress, like you know, the hero that was in the movie, not the singer. And then I was like, who is this? And I was like, oh, he sings all the Bollywood songs. So it's funny because before it used to be like Drake. But as I've like leaned more, I just get so much joy from listening to Bollywood. Totally. It reminds me of like my 5th grade self that like, you know, didn't care about like, oh, I'm just listening to Bollywood music. Like, and I also think it's important like to kind of pick and choose what serves you in your culture. Like maybe right now that's something that you really like, but that doesn't mean it always has to be something, you know. It can always fluctuate. Our relationship is changing, and also I mean there's not everything isn't great about anything, about any culture. So kind of learning how we're going to implement that in our lives. So true.
And we discussed about how like we want to make traditions like the Bali traditions as adults, like ourselves as
like
well.
Learning how to do that, because my parents don't live here anymore. They moved to Texas.
Oh,
so like I can't go home home for every holiday.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was here for Diwali, and I was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
So I like went to one of our friends' house, like homes in Jersey, and it was
Yeah.
like spending it with their family and like some of our other friends.
Yeah.
And it still felt like I could have that.
Yeah. I've thought about that too, though. Like,
Yeah.
I actually don't know how to do anything.
Yeah. My mom has never really taught me either,
Yeah.
so I was just
But
like,
it's cool because I feel like now we're deciding
learning.
what we want it to look like. Because up until now, it's been like we're celebrating it in the way that our parents did or our family did. But now we're like getting into our mid-20s, and it's like, okay, now how am I gonna celebrate the Valley? Is it cultural or is it religious for me? What am I gonna do? Am I like, you know, and we're kind of defining it for ourselves, which is so important.
yeah.
I think it's really important.
Yeah.
I spent actually most of my growing up honestly rejecting our culture.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Because of I know we had a lot of South Asian people, but because we did, I always felt like I needed to fit in with other people. I was
oh, that's so interesting.
It's like
Like a different way. And I was rejecting my culture because there wasn't.
Group
Yeah.
There was no one there. But that makes sense that you're like,
because
oh, I
we
need
made
to
the
branch out.
stereotypes and you get made fun of, Indians are smelly, those type of things. And I was like, I don't want to get made fun of and all these types of things. So I tried to act as non-Indian as I could.
Yeah. Oh my God, the smelly one hits different.
It
man.
does.
Oh, that
as
one
a
was
kid,
rough.
imagine a kid being told that when you're 7.
Yeah. Or I remember I was told that once when I was 13. And it was before I lived in Virginia in this small white town, I actually lived in San Antonio, which is a really immigrant-filled community, so it was very shocking to me moving to Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel middle school time is formative years.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you get bullied so much in middle school.
Yeah.
And I remember I just moved to this town, Williamsburg, Virginia, and and I had just moved, my family, we had just moved into our house, and it was my second day of school, and I was opening up my locker, and this girl was telling everyone around her something smells like spices and curry, and I just don't know what it is. And clearly the school is totally completely white, and I'm over here feeling so horrible, but I'm joke's on her, because all of our stuff hasn't even come from the U-Haul, so we've only eaten takeout for the last 3 days, so I can't even smell curry. my mom hasn't even cooked anything with curry in it.
Also, it's so funny how, I always say this, our beauty standards or our food is popular now. Who be drinking turmeric?
Oh my God.
Who be drinking golden lattes now?
I know. I'm Haldi dude, we're really calling that a golden latte.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you don't care about the smell now? Let's talk. No,
yeah,
literally.
and all those TikToks being I picked up Indian takeout, and I'm no fucking way. I bet that girl that called me that, I bet she's had some buttered chicken.
No,
yeah.
And even the whole clean girl aesthetic, bro. We'll be putting oil in our hair forever.
Oh my, the oil thing that had me flabbergasted.
No, flabbergasted. Even so many things. I feel even eyebrows and thick eyebrows. I was made fun of for that.
Yeah.
And now it's
it's becoming popularized.
Yeah, and the older you get, the more you realize that I feel especially in our generation with so much social media and TikTok and how things are changing so quick, especially beauty trends. I feel every year it's something new.
Yeah.
You have to center yourself in who you are because you literally can't keep up with it every single time.
Yeah.
You just have to kind of figure out, what you're comfortable with, what you like, and then just go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, the oiling hair one, man. I remember even being in the 4th, 3rd grade, and my mom would put Vatika coconut oil in my hair and
blue bottle.
Yes. Fuck. And she would send me off to school with braids, and I hated it. I remember as soon as she dropped me off at the drop off, I would be taking out the braids right then and there, and I was I don't know what to do about the oil. At least I'm taking out the braids.
That's so good. But it's also been such a great year. I feel so happy for kids growing up, South Asian people, growing up now, because there's so much representation. It is crazy. Even the new Mean Girls movie, how there's the red girl Karen.
Yeah.
Last year too, there was so much representation. Bridgerton, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Bridgerton comes to mind so big.
Yeah.
It's just so cool to see the representation.
I feel Bridgerton was especially cool because
she's also dark skinned.
Yeah,
that's not very common.
And she was South Indian, which also I think is not very common. It was just so cool.
Yeah, that, and then I love that nobody questioned their beauty in the show, I personally, I know people are haters of Mindy Kaling and like Never Have I Ever and stuff, but I think it speaks truth to like what a lot of brown girls' experiences was like. So I actually am not a hater of the fact that she called herself like nerdy and smelly and like fit into the stereotype, because some level of that is true. We did grow up like rejecting parts of our culture, and the show is just showing that. Like, so I still enjoy that show, but the reason Bridgerton was so good is nobody questioned their beauty or their like abilities or anything like that. Like it was just
they were like attractive.
They were
hot. That's not something that we felt very much. Also, I was thinking, like, Never Have I Ever, growing up with that show, it would have felt so good to, like, have watched that and been like, oh, this is not just me. Or there are people like this. And we never had that, so it's really cool for kids now.
We also kind of, like, talked about it before in, like, a previous episode, but, like, dating is, like, as a brown person or, like, just not white, it's, like, a different experience sometimes.
100%.
Because, like, we might, like, give a little heart to someone that's not Indian, but they might not like us back, or it's like not feeling as desired.
That's something I felt. I think a side effect of growing up where we grew up is I feel like, you know, you were asking me like, are you only looking for brown men? I always joke and I say I'm not, but I feel like only brown men like me. And maybe it's like my mental thing of how I grew up and like what I was around. Because I went to a school that was so brown, I feel like I didn't really leave that bubble, so I feel like that's the only person that likes me, or like that's all I know and that's all I'm used to. I don't know, it does change it does affect you, I think, in your self-confidence and your dating in that time. And then you kind of live with those, I don't know, you have to like learn how to unlearn them as you grow up.
I feel like as we've gotten older, and as like I guess men that are not brown have gotten older too, I feel like they are though like fairly excited to if anything it's like kind of fetishized. They're like, oh yeah, like this, you know,
you're
like
right. Loki is.
I dated a couple white men during my dating phase,
and it was like
they were so excited to be dating.
You're a bit too excited. You're a bit too excited.
I was like, I don't know if I like that.
That's funny. It's also like the whole Nick Jonas, Priyanka Chopra of it all, where you're like, wait, like this is becoming, and it should be like this is normal. Like you love who you love is not love is blind, but you can't control that stuff. Like
you can't. You know, sometimes.
You know who else I really love? Have you ever watched Nabila or Nabella? I don't know how she's. I love like watching her relationship because I love how she's been able to like integrate her culture into her life, and she kind of shows how being in a like, what's the word I'm looking for?
I'm also blanking.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Interracial
relationship. And how he's like, you know, how they kind of found a balance and how it's so normal for them. I don't know, it's so interesting. I love it.
And
so
he seems to, I think his name is Seth, her husband. He just like fully has integrated himself into
so
like,
cool.
It's honestly I think she's a Bengali, like Bengali
and Muslim culture, like Islam culture. It's so cool. It's really cool to see. The representation is really amazing.
So kind of pivoting, I know you work 9 to 5. How would you say you try to find like fun outside of your 9 to 5, or like passion outside of your 9 to 5?
Or do you love your 9 to 5?
I do not like 9 to 5.
I think that's something a lot of our generation is dealing with. All of our friends are dealing with this, where it's like, I don't know, how much should I like my job?
Whenever people are like, oh, I love my job, I'm like, really? I thought we were just like working a job so we could like go do some fun shit after.
I thought the consensus is that we don't like it.
Do you guys like your 9 to 5s?
I feel like, so this is my second job now after graduating. My first job I like just took because I wanted to move to New York really badly. Now I feel like I don't hate it because I feel like I'm learning. I work at a startup, so I like get to do a lot of creative stuff. So I don't hate it. But also like there's a lot of times where I wish I could be doing something else.
I think the same. I think what I'm dealing with is like, how much do I care? Should I care about this? And I feel like I was dealing in the beginning where I was like, I really want to love my job and find all this passion in it. But what I'm slowly realizing is I want to like it, but I feel like it's okay to find some passion outside of it. It doesn't have to be everything. I need to like it more than I am right now, to be completely honest, maybe. But it doesn't have to be something that like, I don't know, that gives me the whole purpose of my life.
No, not at all.
And that's why I love doing this as well. Like, we can eat stuff like this.
No, I really just believe in that, like, I work to live, not that I live to work mentality. But yeah, I think I should like my job a little bit more than I do. So yeah, we'll see.
How have you like, I guess, what have you done outside of your 9 to 5 to kind of find that passion? I think maybe content creating is part of it.
Content
but, like,
creating
what
is
is that
definitely
journey
one
like?
of it, is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is I'm just trying to go out and do things even when it's cold outside.
Yeah.
Right
in the
now,
winter for sure.
Yeah. So in February, I'm gonna launch a series on like Instagram, TikTok, called like 30 Days of Getting Rid of the Winter Scaries. So
I'm watching that.
Yeah. So, and I'm filming in advance so then I can post every single day because otherwise it'll be really hard. Like I don't know how I do that.
Yeah.
So like yesterday I went to Hot Pot and it was freezing cold outside. It was all the way in Flushing, but like
all the way Flushing.
Yeah, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
I like am so glad I just pushed myself to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and then on Wednesday I'm going to, I don't know if you guys know what olfactory is.
Like the scent,
where we like make your own perfume.
Fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's in the West Village. So I'm gonna do that. Like I just want to do things.
Yeah.
I think it's so easy. Like you're just exhausted from your 9 to 5.
Yes.
To just like watch Netflix, eat a bag of chips, and like maybe make it to the gym, but like probably not in my case. So I don't know. I'm just really trying to push myself, especially right now because it's cold and it's so hard to do things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living in New York. Like I always wanted to do this. There's so much to do.
There's so much
here.
to do.
And I think winter gives the opportunity to like do those kinds of activities. I think there's a lot to explore that are indoors too.
Yeah.
That we just like don't know of.
I think a lot of them do happen to be food related. Like, can you guys think of activities that are indoor that are not food related?
A lot of times it's eating out, but maybe that's a good way to do that. Like,
go
to all the restaurants during the winter.
And then you're so right.
Yeah.
And then in the summer,
you do other things.
Yeah. Lately I've been feeling the same way where I feel like anytime I hang out with someone, it's like, let's go get food.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm like, A, I don't want to be spending money on food all the time.
Yeah.
And B, it's like I'm trying to also maybe be healthy, and it sometimes messes up my cycle. So I'm trying to find more things that are not related to food.
Yeah.
Or drinking that are like that you can do socially as well.
Or I think like exactly like inviting friends over.
Hosting.
Yeah.
So good.
Hosting is so fun.
Cause like I don't know, it doesn't cost that much to get like a thing, like a set of groceries from Trader Joe's for like a meal.
Yeah.
And I mean, New York is so expensive, so like a restaurant meal would just be so much fun. So I just like love cooking with friends.
Totally. Yeah. We're going to a paint and sip soon, which
Oh,
low-key I was like, we could just do that on our own, like going forward. Like paint and sip is like so easy to set up. But we're going to like an event in Manhattan for Valentine's Day with one of our friends. Me neither.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so much fun.
But she's like actually good at art. Are you good at art?
No.
No, me neither. So I know that mine's about to be. I was like, are you sure you all want to take me to a paint and sip? Because I'm a sip and you're gonna paint. Like, but she's gonna paint. She can fix yours. She took art classes and everything.
Oh,
okay. So we went to. This is so funny. We went to Thailand last year.
Oh,
and one day. It was like the end of last year. One
Okay.
day it was raining, and so we're like, what do we do? So we all went to a pottery studio. Okay, because
in Thailand.
It was
pouring.
We couldn't do anything. All our plans were ruined. We're like, what do we do? So we're trying to find something to do indoor.
Yeah.
So there's like 7 of us, and so we're like, let's go to a pottery studio. And I made Mama paint me something because I was like, mine's not coming out nice. And something from here that I'll remember.
She's like moping in the corner, and she's like, can you paint me something?
Yeah, she did, and I still have it, and I still love it.
Oh.
But she she's good at art. But I'm excited for like the paint and stuff. Like just trying to find things outside of that as well.
Yeah.
Also, cooking classes are fun.
Those look so fun, and I always get TikToks for them, like people being like, "This is your sign to go to like blank cooking class."
You've been to a couple.
It's a good date idea.
She's been with you've been with her boyfriend a couple times.
Yeah, we made pasta from scratch. I've never done it before actually.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you get to like, it's BYOB, so you like bring your own bottle of wine, and it's just a lot of fun. And there's like a lot of people there, so it's like a fun social thing.
Okay, cool. It's on my list to do for this like 30 days of getting rid of the winter scaries, so I'll prioritize
I'm
it
excited to see this. Maybe it'll give me some ideas.
No, I need some info. I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna be watching.
Yeah. I just want to get like 15 videos ready before I start posting them.
Yeah.
Because knowing my ass, like I'm not gonna be able to like
every day.
Yeah, like we got 9 to 5s
totally.
to do.
Yeah. Totally. I really admire that because I think people think that content creation is just like this easy thing sometimes, and like I like every time I hear someone talking about that, I'm like, I don't think you understand like how much planning and work goes into it, especially if you want to grow it or like you're working with brands. Like, there's a lot that goes behind the scenes.
There's a lot of planning.
Yeah, like you might see some like subpar video from that like you posted, that somebody posted for a brand. It's like a paid partnership, and it doesn't look like much, and you're like, oh, like, you know, they got paid like all this money for this video. And I think for some people that are like really huge, like I'm sure like that's really nice. They probably got paid like a huge amount of money for like not that much work. But like in that subpar video, like they probably like had to go through like a million rounds of review with a company, negotiation, and then they're like, oh, you need to blur this logo that's in the background, you know, like how do I blur that?
Also, you're doing everything on your own. You're coming up with the idea, you're filming, you're editing. It's like a lot of skills it's a lot of skills that you need to have to be able to do it. It is.
But going to what you said, like how it just looks so easy, I feel that even as someone who's making the videos, like, and I know that a lot of work goes into it, but then when I see a video, I'm like, wow, they did that so effortlessly. That is like a great video. They must have just like done it. But like, then I saw this video from a like influencer where she showed like the BTS of her like repeating the sentences over and over again, and I was like, I feel so seen. Like,
so real for her for posting that.
I know. Like, over and over. I was like, oh, God, really? It really took you a lot of try.
It took a lot of try. It's true.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and I think sometimes I feel like creators deserve more credit when it comes to that stuff.
Especially micro-influencers and smaller creators who, again, are doing it all on their own, juggling a job on top of it, trying to plan this all out. It's a lot,
Yeah, I think I mean, I can't speak for them, but I feel like for, you know, bigger creators, maybe it's a little different. Like, they can charge such high rates and have a whole team behind them.
I have a team, totally. I mean, like, we have been doing more for the podcast and stuff, and the other day me and Maz were talking, and she was like, man, this is hard to juggle. Like, we're learning. It's a lot of work. It's a lot. We're learning how to juggle. You know, everything that we're doing, schedules and timing.
Congratulations on like getting the studio space and the man who helped us get these.
I honestly feel like even if it's a lot of work, like sometimes if you really love something, like no matter how hard it is, like that love at the end of the day is just like always in the back of your head.
I think that's what I don't feel towards my 9 to 5, and I'd love to. I just I don't have that with that.
You know what I keep thinking lately? It's like anything that ever became successful, you have, or if you, for someone who starts a business, for example, there is a time when you're not making money. I think, especially me, I don't want to speak for everyone. I think maybe our generation is not so comfortable being uncomfortable. Or in discomfort. But you kind of have to be okay with it. You just have to decide what is worth that discomfort. What is, so like, you kind of have to be okay with the struggle because that has to happen. For the other side to come.
Taking risks.
It's part of the process, so.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna end off with like, it is the start of the new year. What are you really excited about in this new year? Ish and I always like come up with a word for the year, but like if there's like something.
Wait, what are your guys' words?
How about I heard yours?
Mine was like passion.
Oh yeah, yours is passion.
I love that.
Yeah.
So mine for last year was surrender, which I was very proud of. Just like surrender to the process more. Go with the flow more. This year.
Wait, that is such a powerful one.
Right?
I feel like I felt like chills with that one.
Because I'm very much of a control. I need control. And I think that's where a lot of my anxiety comes from. So it was like kind of a practice of letting things go. This year, it's becoming. Like just coming more into myself, realizing what I like, career-wise, I would like to maybe get some more exploration. Just like leaning more into who I am. So becoming the person I am, or I'm meant to be, I guess. Which you don't have to come with the word.
Dude, I don't think. Dude, you just said surrender because like I'm not copying that.
My first word when like I moved here for the first time was like literally wild.
It was chaos.
Like, chaos.
It was good chaos.
Right when I moved here, and I had exactly that.
Just like inviting more excitement into life. You know? But it could be anything. Like, what are you? I guess. Is there something you're excited about? Something you want out of this year?
I don't know. I went with my friend and we went to a cafe and like kind of reflected on last year and then talked about what we wanted for this year. And to be honest, it kind of goes back to like the whole like, you know, 30 days of the winter scaries. I just want to go do fun things. I just want fun moments.
Okay.
I think I've always chased after like a promotion or growing on social media or like, you know, wanting to save like X amount of money. And I think, like, I'll still work towards all of those kinds of things, but in terms of what I want to focus on is, I think I just want to be less anxious and more happy and go try new things.
Yeah. And have fun.
Yeah. So,
especially because I think what I'm realizing as adulthood happens is that the journey you never reach it. You reach it and then it changes. The finish line always shifts.
Yeah.
So it's about the journey, because the end goal, you're never going to fully be like, wait, now everything is perfect.
Yeah, I remember being like 22 and recruiting and being like, oh my God, my life will be set when I have a consulting job.
Right. When I get my job. And then you get the job and you're like, wait.
And I'm like, I don't really like that job that much.
No, so I think it's about the journey.
Yeah,
Throughout figuring it out, you have to find those good moments. I love that.
Yeah, so fun moments. That's all I want.
I love
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is going to be the end of this podcast episode. Thank you so much
This
for...
was so fun.
Guys, I want to hang out.
I know.
Let's do it.
I know. I'm like, wait, was that a whole episode? We just like hung out.
I know.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for coming on.
Of course.
Where can people find you? You can just pop your...
Oh, okay. So they can find me on Instagram. It's Deepa, but DEEPP.
Deepa.
Yeah.
It'll be in the bio.
Yeah. And then Deepa_talks on TikTok. Yeah, that's where they can find me.
And if anyone wants any inspo for things to do in the winter,
dude, it's February, so follow along.
You better be following so you can watch them.
Yeah. But thanks so much for coming on. As usual, go follow us on YouTube now, TikTok, Instagram, basically everywhere. If you have any guests or any specific topic idea, definitely let Ish and I know on Instagram. You can just DM us. But thanks so much for listening to this week's podcast episode, and you'll hear us and see us next week.
Bye.
Bye.